All right, let's get started. Northeast region, it's so good to see all of your beautiful faces. Thank you for taking time to join us this evening. We are so lucky. We have the one and only Jeff Hill. I feel like we should maybe clap our hands or sing a song. I don't know. It's a great day. But before we turn it over to Jeff, we've got, like 30, 45 minutes of announcements, and then we'll leave the last 10 minutes for Jeff. Really quickly, you guys are all invited because you are registered for Team Cup. Thank you. Congratulations. Team Cup's going to be amazing. And hopefully, we know you guys are registered, but our challenge to you is to make sure that your team, all of your coaches are on a Team Cup team. And really, if you have diamonds, make sure that 80%, if not greater, of your diamonds are on a Team Cup. Stress the importance. We know you guys know the importance of Team Cup, but really stress the importance with all your coaches. Get them on a team, and more importantly, don't stop there. Really push your coaches to stay engaged the entire month. And, it's great to be on a team, but it's more important to push and work hard the entire month to try to achieve something great. So reach out to all your coaches. Make sure that they're on a Team Cup team. You have until the end of the month, and Team Cup starts February 1st. Really quick, let's talk about NLC. We just got back from NLC, and Lacey's going to talk briefly about that with us.
Okay, guys, we just got back from NLC event. Oh my heavens, we were able to spend time with Carl Deichler, with Jeff Hill, with Michael Neiman. It was so much fun. We were able to work out with Tony Horton doing the new hardcore workout, which was awesome. The coaches were able to be trained by top coaches. Melanie Mitro was there, Bonnie Engel, Michelle Myers. We've heard nothing but amazing, great feedback from all the coaches. I know all my coaches I've talked to, they left inspired, motivated. They're ready to kill 2016. So if you weren't invited to this conference this year, do everything you can to get invited next year. And leaders, make sure your upcoming leaders know how important that event is and how much they'll be able to take away.
All right, awesome. All right. Yeah, NLC was great. It was fun to be with a lot of you. I know a lot of you guys on this call tonight were at NLC, and it was a great time. It was great to see you in person and spend some time with you. All right. You guys aren't here to hear us talk. You're here to hear from Jeff Hill. We're excited that he has taken time out of his busy day to be with us. We are lucky here in our office. We get to work and be around him each and every day. Yeah, I got my voice back. One thing I can say about Jeff is, first of all, he has a great name. But second, he's the kind of person that when you're around him, he makes you want to be better. And I know that when he talks, when he trains, and he works with us, he makes us want to be better. And that's probably the best thing that I could say about him. Because of him, I really strive to be a better person, and I always leave inspired. And I don't know if you guys have heard him speak before. He just has a way of really connecting and inspiring and motivating people. So we're lucky to have him today. So Jeff, having said that, enough of the mushy stuff. He does have a big head. We don't want to build him up too much. Let's turn the time over to the one and only Jeff Hill.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I do love your name. Seriously, I think before I go any further, one of the great parts for me really is the fact that it's great to work with good people. It's great to work with people that you care for, that you like, that you respect. And I have the opportunity to work with Jeff and Lacey, and Darwin's out today. Another Jeff. I don't know how you know him, if you know him by Jeff or you know him by Darwin or Darlin or whatever. But we have a joke in the office one time where he just says, "Call me Darlin." So I end up calling Darlin. Nothing going on. Just a kind of a fun deal. But listen, I do appreciate the opportunity to jump on this call. And it's always this cool thing, these Zoom calls. I hate them and I love them. I hate them because I know you guys you look at me on this thing. So I'm not sure that I like that so much. But I love the fact that I can look at you and I can see what's kind of going on a little bit, get a little peek into your world. I'm sitting here looking at Sandra, I don't ever, and Hannah and Carrie and Audrey and Candace. And, I mean, I can go down all these coaches, and I'm looking at you guys. I'm looking at you guys in the eyes. And for me, so Audrey Robus, I can tell if you're falling asleep or not. I can tell if you're taking notes or if you're just totally tuned out, or whatever you're doing. But it's great to be part of that. So thanks for letting me be on this call. So Jeff said something that is probably not a bunch of stuff he said about me that's not true. But one thing he said is that that I can motivate you. I can give you some tidbits. I can give you some information. But at the end of the day, you've got to motivate yourself. You've got to take that, you've got to put those things into action and do something with it. So, if I could, you'll hear me use this term a lot. If I could take my magic wand and if I could wave it, over each one of you guys, it would be that, that you'll take something from this call, maybe just one thing, and you'll use it to make yourself better. There's a Jiffy Lube quote that says, we don't want to change your oil. We don't want to change your world. We just want to change your oil. And honestly, that's kind of the purpose of this call. I mean, I'd love to change your world, but it's you that's got to change your world. But I would like to give you something that will change your oil, where you can go run a little faster, jump a little bit higher, have a little bit more thought, elevate the level of performance that you have as a coach. So with that, I'm going to jump in. We've got about 20 minutes, and you'll see me. I'm looking at the clock over here because I have a call right at whatever at I guess for me, 5:30 anyway. So a long time ago, I attended a convention, and there was a guy by the name of Dr. Ken Dykewald who spoke. And he was a gerontologist, psychologist, futurist. And then there's probably a condensed word for that, some kind of title. But he was a smart guy who looked down the road for what the aging population could anticipate and what that provided. At the very beginning of his talk, and there's backing up one step first, I'm gonna touch on three little things here, three little stories. He asked this question. He said, "How do you catch an elephant?" Okay, and I don't know about you, but I hadn't up to that point in my life spent a lot of time pondering the question of how to catch an elephant. Maybe it's because I didn't really have need for an elephant in my life. I don't know what it was. But as I was pondering, he answered the question, and he said this. He says, "You don't run up from behind and try and catch it. You get out in front of it and you dig a hole big enough for it to fall in." Okay? You get out in front of it and dig a hole big enough for it to fall in. Second little story. One of the greatest hockey players, you guys in the Northeast are hockey fans, Wayne Gretzky. Okay? One of the greatest guys ever to slap on skates and skate the earth. And he was asked a question, and I thought his simplicity in his answer was so key. They asked him, "What is your key to success?" And he answered, "Be where the puck is going to be." Be where the puck is going to be. Okay? Then, third, I usually can't talk too much without talking a little bit about my family. Many of you know I have a big family. We have 6 daughters, have a son. Most of them are kind of grown up by now. But, I had these, what I like to call teaching moments. They probably would call them lectures, okay? And oftentimes they would surround the 6 Ps, okay? And when this teaching moment, as I like to call it, would typically take place, would be about 8 o'clock, 8:30 on Sunday evening. And it was when they would inform me that they needed to have the equivalent of a doctoral thesis prepared and handed in Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, what? I don't know if any of your parents or not. I've got kids that are of that age yet, but it's like, so then we pull this whole nighter, kind of where I would write their papers. I would help them with this kind of stuff. And that's where the 6 Ps, the lecture around 6 Ps would come in. Prior proper planning prevents poor performance. Prior proper planning prevents poor performance. So now you guys are saying, okay, neat, Jeff, you've talked to us about elephants, you've talked about about pucks, hockey, and you've talked about the 6 Ps. What have they got to do with me as a leader in elevating my level of leadership? Well, here's the deal. When Ken Dykewald was talking about digging a hole big enough to get in front or to capture an elephant, he wasn't talking about elephants, right? What he was talking about was the best way to capture and to leverage great opportunities that come to play in your lifetime, personal, professional, whatever those are. Okay. The whole story around Wayne Gretzky, his secret to success. Remember that concept that success leaves clues? Okay. Here's a guy, best in the world, greatest in his profession, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, okay, in his profession. His key to success was anticipate where the puck was going to be, where the opportunity was going to be, and be there. Understand what it looks like, what it feels like, where it's going to be, and prepare yourself to be there. The 6 P's hopefully are pretty self-explanatory, I think, with a little bit of an emphasis on the first 3. Prior, proper planning. So the real question is, as you contemplate those as a leader, are you using those principles to put in play into your business? Now, backing up for a minute, I know that I'm preaching to the choir, so to speak. I'm talking to people that are engaged in our business, that you're signed up for Team Cup, you're on a Team Cup team, but I'm talking to Beachbody guys. And yeah, I get that I'm a corporate guy, and I'm supposed to drink the Kool-Aid, right? Okay. Well, as a matter of fact, I do drink the Kool-Aid, okay? I like the Kool-Aid, and I happen to believe deeply in the Kool-Aid that we offer. And I don't mean that to be demeaning at all about who we are, because I happen to believe very deeply, very passionately, the thing that drew me here as a company and what I still continue to see. And in fact, I think my vision of who we are and what we can become gets clearer every day, is the fact that we are the best home-based business fitness company in the entire world. We are positioned in that space. We have that opportunity, and it's, we are a company that was started by being a TV company, right? We sold infomercials on TV. And Carl and John, as they've created this company, thought, how do we reach people? How do we connect people to sell fitness products so they get results in their life? And so they launched that, and it worked. It, did a pretty good job. Creates a lot of brand equity, a lot of information out there. But it wasn't until we created the Coach Network, and we tapped into coaches, okay, who have the ability to relate and to connect and to impact and to share and to create accountability and help people in their business, where they can share the nutrition, they can share the fitness programs, where they can share, they can create recognition, where there are rewards and compensation, all of those things that fold together in this ball create this tremendous opportunity. And it wasn't until we did that this thing has really taken off and creates this tremendous opportunity, okay, that's in front of you. So here's the deal. Maybe point 1 about what I think great leaders possess, okay? Great leaders understand, okay? They see what the opportunity is, and they recognize it for what it is. And if in your business, if where you are in your career, if you don't recognize what we have as this huge elephant, this tremendous opportunity, okay, that is creating all sorts of possibilities in your life, then you need to sit back, take a step back, you need to sit down, and you need to develop with great clarity what this is, what it looks like, and develop an ability to articulate that. Because leaders have to have that in order to create vision, okay? In order to create that passion that they need, that people to lead themselves, and particularly lead themselves in the tough times, and to lead other people, that will give people the strength to follow them and want to create that wants to follow you. Now, Jeff talked for a moment about Team Cup, and you guys are all on Team Cup, so again, I'm preaching a bit to the choir, but here's the deal in the company. I just posted this on the walls for 5 stars and above this morning, is we look at where we are in our business. January is a great month, and typically here's what happens. January is a great month. Volume's up, checks are up, people are happy, put smiles on people's faces, okay? Then what happens is people get kind of happy and kind of content. They relax. They take the foot off the accelerator. They stop doing the things that created success for them. And then what happens is volume goes down, checks goes down, the smiles start to kind of dissipate a little bit. And then there's this chatter, okay, that starts to surface on the team pages and on your team pages, and it goes something like this. Geez, what's going on? My volume's down. Is your volume down? And you'll start to hear that. And the real key is it's not what's going on. The real question is what's not going on in the business. And typically that is something where the coaches, the leaders have stopped leading and have taken the foot off the accelerator and doing those things that create this flywheel that keeps turning, that creates success. January, we expect things to be pretty good. First of the year, people want to have great success. They want to have fitness goals. They have their New Year's resolution. You expect it to be good. But one of the reasons we put Team Cup into play is not because there's great tier prizes and stuff you can get and hold the cup and maybe fly to Santa Monica and all that kind of stuff. Those are all little tiny things. The real reason behind this cup is because it creates an opportunity for you to leverage the opportunity with yourself as a leader and with other people to create leadership moments. And one of the things we see consistently is that after a Team Cup month, during a Team Cup month, we see volume go up, we see checks go up, we see leadership ranks advance, we see people advancing. All of the positive indicators come out of this business. And so if you're not leading a cup or your coaches aren't on a Team Cup, I'm going to challenge you right now as a leader, get them on a cup, because that is key to generating more success for them. So, and you guys are on a cup, so I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's part of this flywheel that keeps the thing moving. And if you see where we are as a company, one of the things that we do is we insert these little moments throughout the year for coaches to leverage. There's Team Cup in February. We have our Success Club trips. We have our Super Saturdays. We have our summits. We have our leadership. We have other Team Cups. All of those things are meant to keep the thing going. I don't know how many of you remember the old Hot Wheels little deal. Some of you are shaking your head going, yeah, I remember the little Hot Wheels, little cars that went around a track, right? And you remember that you could get, I don't even know what it was called. I should go Google and find out what the name was. But there was this little slingshot wheel, the set of wheels that would spin. And what would happen is that the car would go around the track. And it'd come around and it'd start to slow down. And then it would hit these wheels and it would go, and it would fly. It would just be flung out of those things. That's the purpose of Team Cup. It's to being that slingshot, that accelerator in your business. So this is an opportunity that leaders recognize. Leaders will look at it and say, how do I dig the hole? How do I get in front of this thing? Take advantage of what this is. So now I'm going to move quickly. Need to meet somebody there. But so 4 characteristics, I think, of leaders that as you lead your teams, regardless of whether it's in a Team Cup or not, I'm going to call them the 4 E's, okay? Here's the first one. The first one is energy. Leaders have energy, okay? And they have more energy than the people around them, or at least they try to have more energy. And they do the things that will create energy for themselves. And as importantly as doing the things that create energy, they stop doing the things that suck out energy. When you think about the principle behind energy, here's what happens. When you think about creating energy, okay, water, what do? They take this big river and they condense it down and they push it through this small funnel. They simplify, they condense, they compress. It gets very, very simple, and that creates this energy. And that same principle applies to you in your business, that as you simplify and as you compress and you take away things that it may be cleaning out your sock drawer, okay? Seriously, it may be cleaning out a kitchen door, stuff like that sucks it out of you. You've got to get those out of your life because leaders have energy. Now, it doesn't stop there. The second D is this: leaders are energizers. Okay. Now you can go, oh, that's cute. I've got energy. Of course I'm going to become an energizer. Yeah, not so quick. Okay. It's a little bit more cute than just cute. Okay. Great leaders, good leaders recognize their role as an energizer. And what they do is they're disciplined in their approach. They're thoughtful about their approach. And they understand when they need to insert themselves as energizers. I think a great example is if you get into the second week of the cup, okay, for example, you Everyone's all ready to go. They're rah, rah, let's go, sis, boom, bah, kind of a deal. The coaches are going to fall from heaven into our laps. Well, you quickly realize that's not going to happen. And the headwinds kind of come, you get a little bit discouraged. That is a time when a leader knows that beforehand, what they need to do is in week 2 or week 3 or week 4, when you think about you're going to need that, you're going to become the energizer. And maybe it's a disciplined, very intentional attaboy, attagirl. Maybe it's a bottle of wine. Maybe it's a candle. Maybe it's a phone call, or it's a trip to tea, whatever it is. Okay. It's something that you have thought about beforehand and have been very disciplined in your approach and intentional in what you do as an energizer for the business. When the critical moments are in a coach's existence where you need to be active and create influence on your behalf. And you also know the times when you can let it roll a little bit and then insert yourself. Number 2, coach, great leaders are energizers. The third is leaders have to have an edge, okay? Have to have an edge. They have to have an attitude. They've got to know that they're standing apart from the rest. They've got to be bold. They've got to be dramatic. This is a time when you've got to kind of paint yourself in a corner. You got to burn the boats. You've got to be willing to put something out there that gives you an edge where you're all in your business. And people around you have to feel that. You have to be willing to accept or to say, this isn't acceptable. This is where we're going. People want to be led. Most people want to be led, but they need you to pull them out of some of those tough places. And they may come kicking, screaming, whining, moaning, groaning, but typically they want to get out of there. Number 4, leaders execute. These first 3 things are all great, right? To have energy and to do all this kind of stuff and to be thinking beforehand, but you've got to be willing to execute. You have to be disciplined in your approach. You've got to be willing to take the bull by the horns and execute the plan that you've put into place. You've got to know what the end of the road looks like. You've got to know that these next 29 days in February, we're going to get to here, and this is what it's going to look like, and this is what our plan looks like. If not, you're like the Alice in Wonderland story, where they approach the Cheshire Cat and says, where do you want to go? And he goes, I really don't know where I want to go. He said, then it doesn't really matter, which road you take, because they'll all take you there. You've got to be very intentional about where you're going and execute. And so those 4 characteristics, I'm watching the clock here because I've got about 6 minutes and I want to share a couple more little things. So what I've learned from successful team cups is this. Right now, 4 or 5 days beforehand, what they're doing with their teams is they are sitting down and they are scheduling. They're sitting down with their spouses, their partners, their teammates, their kids, and saying, this is what the next 29 days are going to look like. These are the headwinds that are going to come against us. How are we going to behave when it gets tough? How are we going to behave when we want to go out and do this and this comes forward? They always beforehand have planned and scheduled what it's going to look like and anticipated what's going to come down the road. So this is the time, even if you're not the team leader, to make sure that it happens. Okay, last couple of thoughts. And this is a bit of a gut check, okay? It's this: are you interested or are you committed? Really, okay? Really. Mike Krzyzewski, great coach for Duke, phenomenal. He makes a distinction between the two, and he says this: make a distinction between being interested and being committed. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. Only when it's convenient. When you're committed, you follow through no matter what. No excuses. You've got to ask yourself, am I serious about this? Am I committed to it? Because if all you're willing to do on this is really treat it as a hobby, then you shouldn't expect anything other than hobby results. If you're serious about this being a business, if you're serious about being here a year from now or 5 years from now, then you'll make the moments count, okay? You'll be where the puck is going to be. You'll dig a hole for the opportunity that you're going to capture that opportunity. One more quote, couple more quotes. Life is a series of near misses, but what we ascribe to luck is not luck at all. Get this. It's seizing the day and accepting responsibility for your future. Accepting responsibility for your future. It's seeing what other people don't see and pursuing that vision, no matter who tells you not to. If you want to achieve widespread impact and lasting value, be bold. Okay? Be bold. If you want change, if you want to change the fruits of what you're getting, then you've got to change the roots. You've got to put some of these things into place. You know, the things we're talking about aren't sexy. They're not overly dramatic, really. But the results that they can create when you execute well can create very dramatic results, okay? But it starts with assuming responsibility. One last little piece. I love this. It's a poem. It's called the Anglican Bishop poem, okay? So I guess it's about an Anglican bishop, right? It was found on a tombstone somewhere. And it talks about personal responsibility. It goes like this. When I was young and free and my imagination had no limits, I dreamed of changing the world. As I grew older and wiser, I realized the world would not change. And I decided to shorten my sights somewhat and change only my country. But it too seemed immovable. As I entered my twilight years, in one last desperate attempt, I sought to change only my family, those closest to me. But alas, they would have none of it. And now here I lie on my deathbed and realize, perhaps for the first time, that if only I'd changed myself first, then by example, I may have influenced my family. And with their support, I may have bettered my country. And who knows, I may have changed the world. It starts with you guys. It starts with us. I have high dreams, high hopes sometimes, and I want to change my kids, and I want to change my family. And I realize when I want to expand my circle of influence as a leader, what I've got to do is I've got to change myself. I've got to improve myself. And when I start to do that, what happens is my circle of influence expands, and the leadership and the followership follows on this. So, guys, we're out of time. But let me just say this. I look at you guys, and I'm serious. I look at your faces, and this gives me this opportunity, literally, to look into your homes, okay, and kind of look into your eyes. And it's this humbling moment for me, because as I look at you guys, all of a sudden you go, man, there's people here with kids. There's people here that are, they've got laundry they're trying to do. They're trying to cook dinner. They're trying to multitask. They're trying to manage life and grow this business and do great things, in their lives. And it just makes me realize what a humbling or what a courageous business this is, and how much you guys do. And I want you to know that I don't take it for granted what you guys do. It's a courageous business. And you guys have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps every single day and go out there and put your own credibility, put your hope, out there and test yourself and test your knowledge. And we have these little calls and you go, okay, what do I do with this? I've got nobody else here to talk to, kind of thing. And it's challenging. My responsibility. This helps me become even more responsible, that we will make the decisions and try and lead this company in a way that when you go out there and you put your credibility on the line, you put your reputation on the line, that this will be a company that can be part of that big opportunity that creates possibilities for you in your life. And so I just want to say thank you for being on the call. Thank you for being who you are. And there's lots of good stuff out there. So anyway, Jeff, I'm out of time. I'm supposed to be on a Spanish call, but thank you for jumping on.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking time. We all very much appreciate it. Thank you. I know I took a lot of notes. There's a lot of things that I'm going to be working on myself. I'm sure you'll make sure of that too, Jeff. Some of the things that I was thinking about, I like when you said anticipate where the opportunities are, and like he mentioned, Team Cup is that one of those opportunities. Make sure you're present and participate. Making sure that we're interested, checking ourselves. Are we interested or committed? And hopefully we're all at that point where we're committed in our business. Really quick. Hold on. Kids getting in trouble. Really quick to end. I just want you guys to know all this hard work, all the effort, all the planning, the things that you're doing for your coaches, everything you're doing right now is worth it and will pay off. And you'll start to see that in your business. And pushing towards goals and accomplishments is very important. And we wanted to share with you a video. If you are at NLC, you've seen this video. If you've been on the region pages, you may have watched it as well. But we wanted to share this video of some coaches that have been pushing and working towards a goal, and to show you some of the reactions that they had as they found out. Well, in this situation, they were finding out that they were elite coaches. So we want to share this with you really quickly, and then after this video, we'll let you guys get on to your families and to your life. So let me share my screen really quickly. Let's make it big. Are you able to?
Yep.
You guys! We did it, we did it, we did it. And yeah, it was full of ups and downs, and it's all worth it. I'm a better coach because of what I went through. I'm shaking, like, I didn't think I was gonna do it.
You guys, Jeff's computer just shut off. Were you guys able to hear anything? Yeah, you could hear it?
Once it got going,
Okay, let's play it again.
I think we can all go to the YouTube link because it says 2015 Elite Coach Callouts, right? So we should all be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining. That was an amazing training by Jeff. He always he brings it. I have 3 pages of notes. So thank you all so much for joining, and get registered. Thanks, you guys. Have a good night.
can you all put the link in the chat because it's an unlisted video?
We'll do that right now.